Let's jump right in. Welcome to this explainer, where we're unpacking a truly revolutionary concept based on Osamu Okumura's cutting-edge research. Today, we're talking about a three-stage relay approach to automating how we select event leaders. It is a fascinating look at how we can seamlessly blend artificial intelligence with actual human judgment to make much better, totally fair decisions.
Okay, let's kick this off with a pretty tough question. When it comes to organizing a regional festival or even a big corporate event, how do we actually pick the person in charge? Think about that for a second. The executive committee chair, the operations director. Whether an event absolutely crushes it or completely fails often hinges entirely on this one single decision. But really, how is that decision made today?
Well, honestly, it's usually just a gut feeling. And relying on that traditional gut feeling deliberation brings up three massive glaring flaws. First off, we tend to completely ignore past operational records. Like, we just forget them. Second, the criteria for choosing someone, it's rarely written down. It just kind of lives in the minds of a few insiders. And third, because of all that, it is literally impossible to explain the rationale to any outsiders. It's just a total black box. Here is our agenda, our roadmap to fixing this messy human problem. We'll cover the gut feeling problem, Stage 1, LightRAG mapping, Stage 2, the C4 blueprint, Stage 3, the LangGraph workflow, a real-world case study of candidate A versus B, and finally, the human in the loop. Section 1, the gut feeling problem, why choosing a leader needs a systematic approach. So look, we all know that choosing an executive committee chair based on the foggy memory of a few insiders is just a recipe for subjective, totally unexplained outcomes. Imagine someone asking, hey, why was this person chosen? And your only answer is, well, they just kind of felt like the right fit. Yeah, you have a transparency problem. Organizations absolutely need a way to systematically reference past data and explicitly lay out their selection criteria. Which brings us to Section 2, Stage 1, LightRAG mapping, the researcher building the map. Enter LightRAG. So what is this? It's a technology that extracts entities, things like people, organizations, concepts, and figures out the relationships between them. LightRAG basically takes all that messy, unstructured past event data, old performance records, evaluation comments, and turns it into a clear, static map of relationships called a knowledge graph. It digests all that data so we aren't relying on someone's faulty memory. It works like this. First, it ingests the past operations data and profiles. Second, it extracts entities like a candidate's name or the event size. And third, it maps relationships to justify exactly why someone matches up. For example, it can draw a direct line connecting candidate A, operations management experience, and an event of 500 attendees. By feeding a new event's requirements into this graph, it pulls up matching candidates and perfectly preserves the why behind their selection. It's actually brilliant. Moving right along to Section 3, Stage 2, C4 blueprint, the architect drawing the structure. Now we need a blueprint, and we use something called the C4 model. This is a visual framework that diagrams a system's architecture. It basically shows exactly who uses which part to do what across the whole mechanism. The C4 model gives us a visual container diagram, meaning both tech folks and non-technical stakeholders can instantly understand the division of responsibility. It's a clear blueprint that everyone, from your HR staff to your software engineers, can look at and agree upon. And here is how that architecture works as a single team. You've got the selection management UI, that's the web front end, where humans actually review and approve things. Then there's the LightRAG engine, which we just talked about, extracting entities and relationships. And finally, you have the LangGraph orchestrator running the workflow with branches and loops. This structural diagram is the ultimate bridge between human decision makers and the underlying code. Section 4, Stage 3, LangGraph workflow, the traffic cop managing the flow. Okay, so meet LangGraph. It is a workflow orchestration engine that defines the processing steps as a directed graph. Think of it as the traffic cop of our operation. LangGraph executes the dynamic workflow, using a state graph to control exactly how the selection procedure moves forward or rolls back. It handles conditional branches, changing paths based on a condition, and loops, meaning it can literally go back to an earlier step if something hits a snag. Let's look at its execution sequence. 1. Candidate screening and scoring. 2. Human review, which is the primary screening.
3. Interview conducted. And 4. Human review for final approval. This sequence ensures the whole process moves from screening to that final sign-off super smoothly, pausing exactly where a human needs to step in. It completely structures the execution so the procedure is followed flawlessly every single time, no matter who is at the wheel.
Section 5. Case Study A versus B. Testing the system on a 500-person summer festival. For this event, 3 years of past operations data and 5 candidate profiles were fed directly into the system. When the AI maps the requirements through LightRAG, candidate A takes a commanding lead with 92 points, beating out candidate B at 83 and candidate C at 68. Now, you might assume the machine just automatically crowns candidate A the winner, right? Well, nope, that is not what happens, and honestly, this is where the system truly shines. So here is LangGraph in action. Step 1, the AI ranks candidate A first. But at step 2, the first human in the loop gate, HR spots a real-world scheduling conflict for candidate A. Because this workflow is highly structured, HR can explicitly flag this, triggering an automated loopback in step 3 to rescore. Candidate A is set aside, and candidate B, our runner-up, is elevated and successfully passes that primary review in step 4. Following a successful interview, candidate B then passes the final human approval gate by the chief coordinator, and the system automatically generates the leader appointment notice. It proves that this system handles complex reality perfectly. And here is the best part. The reason candidate A was looped back is permanently kept on record. Total transparency for anyone who asks later. Section 6. The human in the loop. Preserving human authority. This brings us to the final, absolutely crucial component of this entire architecture. Fully automating personnel choices without any human involvement, that is ethically and institutionally inappropriate. You can't just let an AI unilaterally decide who gets the job. That's why these human-in-the-loop gates are so perfect. They automate the heavy data crunching, but explicitly require human approval gates. The system literally cannot proceed to appoint someone without human sign-off at key checkpoints. To quote Osamu Okumura directly, the final decision of who becomes the leader is still made by people. The technology maps the route, but humans absolutely must steer the ship. The AI doesn't take over the judgment, it just makes that judgment dramatically more informed, transparent, and fair. So, let me leave you with this. Think about your own workplace. Are you ready to embrace a transparent, AI-assisted selection process that keeps the ultimate power right where it belongs, in human hands? Because this 3-stage relay, mapping the data, structuring the blueprint, and orchestrating the workflow, isn't just for event leaders. It is a blueprint for the future of fair organizational management. What's your next move?